My name is Mia Bennett, and I'm 35. It was Christmas Eve, and my sister leaned across the ham and said, 35 and still single? Christmas must get pretty lonely. Everyone laughed. My father laughed hardest. My mother, wine glass raised for a toast, smiled and said, "Oh, she's just joking." I set my drink down. Because here's what none of them knew. I hadn't flown home to be laughed at over dinner. A week earlier, a folder had crossed my desk with my own name signed at the bottom of a contract I'd never seen, in handwriting that wasn't mine. Welcome to Karma Chronicles, where quiet women finally stop apologizing. I'm an acoustician. I design rooms that hold sound the way a good cup holds coffee. No spill, no echo, nothing lost. Recording studios, lecture halls, a children's hospital where the machines beep softer, because I taught the walls to eat the harshness out of them. My family knows none of this in any way that counts. To them, I'm the daughter who left, the punchline between the potatoes and the pie. I hadn't been back to Columbus in 2 years, until Dale, an old technician at Bennett Acoustics, called. "Real quiet, Mia. They're closing a deal on the panel line. Big money. Your dad keeps telling them the design's clean, all signed over. But I never saw you sign anything. Did you?" I hadn't. That's when I booked the flight. Not for the ham. For a sentence in a document I needed to see with my own eyes. At the table, my sister Chloe kept going. Some of us made choices. Some of us built things. Mia went off to make rooms quiet. More laughter. My father spread his hands like a blessing. This family built something real. 50 years of the Bennett name on that building. The name comes first. Everyone nodded like scripture. My mother murmured, "Let's not make the meal about all that." What she says whenever anything true tries to get up off the floor. I felt the old pull to shrink. 15 years I'd been doing that from a distance. For the first time I didn't. "Don't worry about me," I said, voice even. "I've been married for a long time." The table went vacuum sealed. My mother's glass stopped midair. 6 years, and you never told your own family? Already the pivot, not "Are you happy, but how could you keep this from us?" I gave them almost nothing. "His name is Adrian, he's away on business. No, he isn't ashamed. Yes, it's real." My father studied me with a look I couldn't read yet, one that would make terrible sense later. My mother touched my wrist. "We just want to be part of your life." I almost softened. But I hadn't come for anyone's life. I'd come for a document. The biggest surprise in the room wasn't my marriage. It was the folder 3 meters away with my name forged at the bottom. And I was the only one who knew it was there. 11 years ago, when I was 24, Bennett Acoustics was 3 months from closing. The firm's old gray panels weren't selling, so I spent a winter designing something new. A layered baffle core that let a room stay warm without going muddy. I built the first one myself and signed the inside of the frame where no one would ever look, the way a luthier signs the belly of a violin. That panel saved the company. Slowly, the story got retold without me in it. It became the Bennett panel. Dad's turn. I let it, telling myself that was a kind of love. Now that panel was the crown jewel of a deal worth more money than my father had ever seen, and somewhere in a folder, my name was pretending to have signed it all away. The next morning I drove to the firm, telling myself I just wanted to see the holiday decorations. It looked prosperous now, fresh paint, a glass conference room, buyers in good coats. My father was in his element. "Everything you see, we own outright. Clean as a whistle. We keep it in the family." I asked casually to see the IP paperwork. Chloe intercepted me. "You don't really work here anymore. People might think you're jealous." My mother, passing with cookies, added, "Oh, she's just joking." That phrase again, the spell that turns every knife into a joke and every joke into your fault. Dale found me at the loading dock and led me to the due diligence binder. I turned to the page marked Intellectual Property Assignments, a 1-page agreement transferring my design to Bennett Acoustics, dated 5 years ago, signed, Inventor Mia Bennett. I've signed my name 100,000 times. This wasn't it. Someone had practiced from a sample, the M2 round, the tail of the T crossed wrong, none of my natural downhill drift. I photographed the page and checked the date. 5 years ago, that April, I wasn't anywhere near Ohio. I was in Rotterdam presenting at an acoustics conference. My name in the program, my face in a group photo, my passport stamped. On the day this document says I signed away my best work, I was 4,000 miles away being taken seriously. That evening, drying dishes, I mentioned I didn't remember signing anything over. My mother's hand slowed in the suds. "Oh, sweetheart, your father took care of the paperwork. Why make a fuss over forms? He handles everything." She confirmed it, entirely unaware. To her it wasn't a crime, it was a courtesy. I found my father in his study with a bourbon. I told him plainly, "There's an assignment with my signature and I never signed it." He didn't flinch. "So you found it," he said, almost proud. "You made that panel under this roof using Bennett tools. That design was always ours. All I did was finish the paperwork you were too busy for." When I said forging a signature is a crime, he said, "Family isn't a crime. My father did the same to me. Put the company's name on my first panel and mine nowhere. Cried for a year. Then I understood. That's how a family survives. You feed the name and the name feeds you. I did you a kindness." He wasn't a villain. He was a man robbed young who decided the theft was a tradition worth passing down. When I said I wanted my name off the deal, the warmth drained out instantly. "Do you know how many jobs are riding on this? If you blow it up over your pride, everyone will know it was you. The oldest tool in the house. Make yourself small so the room stays smooth. That's my wound. Believing love means being the one who disappears so everyone else stays comfortable." Standing there, I finally saw the machine I'd been feeding. It had always run on me. That night I drove to the firm and stood before panel 001, hanging in the lobby under a brass card reading the Bennett panel. My father's name as founder, mine nowhere. I lifted the frame and turned it over. In the pale inner wood, in small block letters, a 24-year-old wrote, believing no one would ever see them. *MB. The room where you can finally hear yourself think. The front belonged to the family story. The back, the part holding everything up, was me. Hidden, load-bearing, uncredited. Exactly like the daughter. Alone afterward, I want to be honest about what I almost did. My husband Adrian is a partner at an investment fund. Not a small man in that world. One call, and the deal could evaporate, or he could fund the company himself and buy my family's gratitude forever. I sat with my thumb over his name a long time, then put the phone down because using him either way would make me exactly like my father. Someone who buries truth under power. I didn't fly home to become him. I flew home to stop being his tradition. The next morning I called an IP attorney in Chicago. Her answer was plain. "If you didn't sign it, the assignment is void, not weak void. A forged signature transfers nothing. You still own the design. When the buyer's team asks the inventor to confirm the chain of title, you'll have to ratify it or tell the truth. If you tell the truth, they can't close as it's papered now. And the forgery itself is a criminal matter, but that part isn't yours to prosecute or forgive. It just is." The power in the room had never been my husband's money or the family name. It was one signature I hadn't given and wouldn't give. The house could tell something had shifted. My mother hovered, refilling coffee. On the porch she took my hand. "Whatever you and your father are tangled up about, let's keep it in the family. Same spell as she's just joking, bigger stakes." Chloe brought me tea and said, "You know I love you, right, however things shake out." Something she'd never said sober. They'd smelled the danger and were rearranging the whole house to fold me back in before I did anything undoable. My father called a family meeting the morning before closing and slid a fresh assignment across the table. Dated that week, ready for a real signature this time to paper over the fake one. All you have to do is sign what you would have signed anyway. Family taking care of family. My mother cried softly. I didn't sign. I said I needed to think and took the page with me. That same day, Chloe, very good at finding out what's true, looked into Adrian and found out exactly who he was. She came to me, mockery gone, replaced by calculation and hope. This changes everything. I watched the story the family had told about me for 35 years dissolve and reassemble into something new. I wasn't the punchline anymore. I was the exit. By evening, the ask came in relay so no one had to own it whole. Couldn't I have a word with Adrian, get him to smooth things with the buyers, or put in money so my messy signature never mattered? The name comes first, Mia. And right now the name needs you. Same machine, same fuel. 15 years it used me by making me a joke. Now it would use me by making me a savior. I did call Adrian that night, but not to save anyone. I told him everything, standing under my father's Christmas lights. He listened, then asked, "What do you want to do?" Not what should we do. I said I wanted to tell the truth. He said carefully, if our fund has any connection to the buyer, the moment your name is on anything I have to recuse. I wouldn't want to touch it. I said, good. That's exactly right. My family's instinct was to use every relationship as leverage. My husband's instinct was to step back the moment his presence could bend the truth. That night I wrote a short, factual statement for the buyer's counsel. I am the inventor of the design. I did not sign the assignment dated 5 years ago. On that date I was in Rotterdam and I can prove it. I do not ratify that assignment. I hold the rights to the design. I signed it with my real signature and sealed it, knowing what it would cost. Dale might lose his job. My mother's retirement might shrink. The Bennett name might come off the building. I put my hand on the envelope and did not take it away. My mother came to me before dawn and made her last appeal, aimed straight at the deepest part of me. You've always been our strong one. Don't become the one who breaks it. Please sign, be who you've always been for us. Just this once more. It broke my heart and I still couldn't do it. Mom, I forgive him. I forgive all of you, I said gently. But forgiveness isn't a signature. She didn't understand. Alone after, I finally faced what I'd been avoiding for 15 years. My silence had never protected anyone. It had funded them. Every joke I let land taught Chloe that dropping me was free. Every time I let my father tell buyers the design was his, I taught him taking from me carried no cost. The strong one wasn't a compliment. It was a job description for someone trained to absorb what the family didn't want to feel. The closing was set for 10 a.m. My father was mid-story about the early days when the accountant looked up. We need the inventor to confirm the assignment on the record. Is the inventor available? Every head turned to me. My father slid the fresh assignment toward me. She's just confirming what she signed years ago. Go ahead, sweetheart. I slid the pen back an inch. I'm not confirming it, I said, voice steady, because I never signed it. I laid out Rotterdam, the program, the photos, the passport stamp, and placed my statement on the table. I'm the inventor. I never assigned it, and I'm not ratifying it now. Then into the silence. I forgive you, Dad. I'm still not signing. Chloe was in my ear. Call Adrian, one call, he can make this disappear. My father pivoted to the buyers about a family misunderstanding, reaching for the same tool the family always reached for. Use the connection, make the truth go away. Instead I said, out loud to the room. He's already recusing himself. Neither of us will use him to bury this. If you want the design, license it from me honestly on the record. My father came up out of his chair, voice cracking. After everything this family gave you, you destroy it over a piece of paper. The name comes first. I answered quietly. No, Dad. The truth comes first. The name is just what you called it when you wanted us to stay quiet. He had no answer. My mother turned toward my father, choosing in the worst moment, the man and the name over the daughter telling the truth. I had known she would. It broke my heart anyway. Here's what matters most. Nobody was crushed by anyone's power. No fund swept in. No connected husband made a call. The truth, once on record, simply did what truth does. The lawyers couldn't close on a broken chain of title. They paused the deal. The design reverted to me, its actual owner, exactly as the law had always quietly held it did. The machine that ran on my silence stalled the moment I stopped feeding it, because it had never run on anything else. Bennett Acoustics didn't vanish, it shrank. The big deal died, but a smaller, honest one came along once the records were clean, and the company survived at a size that matched what it had actually earned. Dale kept his job. My father never admitted he was wrong. To this day he tells people he was betrayed by an ungrateful daughter. My mother and I speak now and then carefully. She's never said sorry. I've stopped waiting. Chloe is the surprise. She hasn't apologized, not really, but months later called just to ask how the design licensing worked, and listen without a single joke. Maybe that becomes something. Maybe nothing. I stopped hiding Adrian the moment I got home. And the other thing I did took longer. Chloe's daughter, my niece, 8 years old and already called too much, asked me what I do. Instead of shrinking it, I told her the truth. I make rooms where you can hear yourself think, and showed her how a panel works, how you can shape a silence instead of just enduring it. That's how you break a thing like this, not by winning a war, but by making sure the next quiet girl in the family knows early that she never has to disappear to be loved. Panel 001 hangs in my studio now in Chicago. I bought back the original for almost nothing after the deal collapsed, since my father couldn't stand to look at it. I turned it around. The front faces the wall. The back faces the room, so the first thing anyone sees is the pale inner frame and the block letters of a 24-year-old who signed the only part of her work she thought no one would ever take. Asterisk MB. The room where you can finally hear yourself think. Asterisk. Here's the only wisdom I have to offer. Forgiveness does not mean signing your name to the thing that erased you. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for a family is refuse to disappear inside it. That's my story. A forged name, a quiet toast, a signature I never gave, and finally refused to give again. If you've ever been the strong one, the quiet one, the one who kept the peace until it started costing you your own name, ask yourself tonight whether you're keeping a peace or funding a lie. Then do the brave, quiet thing. Thank you for being here.